What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, Untali?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Hello, guys. Welcome to 5Roundz. What's going on?
It's another Friday. In Ireland, we had St. Patrick's. That was yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. So everyone joining us on the show. Another extended Happy St. Patrick's Day. We hope you enjoyed your St. Patrick's in the UK. Happy Friday.
Happy
Malawi.
Father's Day, man. Happy
Yeah.
Father's Day.
All around the world.
Go on, sir.
Unreal. Like the applause there. That's really good. So, tonight we're going to dive into the concept of single African currency. I'd say one Africa, one currency. Say why does each country in Africa have its own currency? That's what we like to think about. And why don't we have one African currency? Like, the times where Gaddafi had his vision and he had a strong belief to say uniting Africans would actually, bring about a one currency, a strong currency would, bring about one army to defend the whole continent, as well as one passport. What do you think about that? Do you want one passport so you can travel around Africa without, any means and stuff? Do you want to spend the money right? And on top of that, we also gonna, just think about this, would this affect anything in our present time? Because, that was back then that, late Muammar Gaddafi suggested that. And then now we have the West African, unions trying to connect and trying to create the new African currency moving forward in 2023. And we're thinking about this. It was discussed about, forward like by Gaddafi to say he would have loved to see Africa with one, currency. And
Hold on a minute, man. Damn. It's almost like you're just going, hello, let's go. We're going to talk about everything that's coming.
So, so sorry about that one, Tali. It's just that, I was just trying to kickstart with just hitting a few lines there.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, look, man. I just wanted to slow you down a little bit and just remind the guys that this is a podcast. It is a YouTube channel, guys. All right. We thrive through you guys. All right. So if you are new, guys, make sure you make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification button so you do not miss anything that's coming. We have big things coming. We're gonna do a merch giveaway soon, guys. So you want to be subscribed for that, because it could be you walking away with some good merch, like the hoodie that MP has on right now, and obviously the T-shirt that I have on, guys. You could have this for free next week. So guys, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notification button, like this video, and share it. Like MP is talking about this topic, we're gonna need you guys to give us your thoughts and all of that, man. We're trying to come to a conclusion, because this is a question. The topic is a question: is should Africa have a single currency? It's a question. We're not sitting here as financial advisors or whatever it is.
Disclaimer:
we're trying to find out if Africa should have it or not, So just gonna hit the comments real quick. I've got True City fans saying one passport in the whole of Africa. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but okay. And then Vanessa says interesting topic, and then Vanessa again says True City fan, that's one of the things that he wanted to do. Okay. So Mr. MP, please, sorry.
Sorry about
Yeah. So what is it that we're covering today about this currency thing? Because I'm interested to know, what is it that we're going to cover, and what are we hoping to get to?
So what we're going to cover today is just like how do you think the single currency would benefit us in our countries, say Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, going up to the north as well? What will one currency benefit the people of Africa? What are the potential issues that Africans would face if we were to, introduce the single currency moving forward? And how would we go about solving these problems if we had the issues coming up? Because For example, we can see the EU. Greece has problems, Italy has problems, and the EU is trying to save all that in the terms of saving the euro in that sense. And looking at Africa, like what problems do we have in that instance as well? Based on our discussion, we can finally see what we can actually come up with at the end of the discussion, and you know we'll think about why should we use it, or should we continue with it? Are we facing something that's detrimental going forward, because the Western African countries are actually pushing forward. They're supposed to run in 2020 with their new currency in thought, but then they've pushed it backwards. So a little delay, they might be pushing it in 2023. We never know, that might start something new in Africa. So it's just something that we need to start talking about. And with that said, like, I think we've known for a fact that there's a few supporters that argue that a single currency in Africa would mean an end to a currency crisis. Like how many bills are exchanged and all that stuff. Transactions would be transparent. They would eliminate all these foreign exchange fees and stuff, and there will be more money left in the basket. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So moving forward, I don't want to flood you with so many points about single currency, but to just make it clear, guys, in the world we exchange with a single currency. The US dollar is more like considered a single currency that most markets would be exchanging with. To say, I'll take my Malawian kwacha. I'm from Malawi. If I'm in Europe using euros, I'll be exchanging to trade with another country on a standard of a dollar. So moving forward, we're actually thinking about this on a term of, what if there was a thing, because it was suggested by late Muammar Gaddafi, to say, would be trading on a certain platform using just EU money, like AU money, being the African Union money, right? So Wantali, how do you think a single currency would benefit the whole of Africa in this situation, or the people in Africa?
To be honest, I wanted to ask why we should talk about this. That was I wanted to ask, why is it that Muammar Gaddafi thought, you
Yeah.
know what, it's a brilliant idea for
Yeah.
me to introduce this singular currency. Why did he
Yeah.
have that idea? That's what I want to start at, because if I was watching this and I'm outside of this discussion, that's the first thing
Yeah.
I'd be like, what's the point? Why are we going to talk about this? You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So why we're going to talk about it is because, for example, I'll just hint about, right? In Europe, there is a euro, right? And in euros, you'll be trading with any country without, a certain transaction needed. So for every money that you buy for a certain item in the next country, you need to pay a certain banking fees and the foreign exchange fees and all the other stuff. So it's something that, what if you eliminated the banking fees, the foreign exchange fees and all of that, and business was so easy, you could just jump on your PC and purchase something in your neighboring country, being Mozambique or Zambia, and you wouldn't want to change from let's say from Malawi kwacha to Zambian kwacha. It would just be, I don't know, EU note, whatever the note name would be. Would say, I'm going to buy something in Zambia, I'm going to buy something in South Africa, I'm going to buy something in Nigeria. It would be so
Oh,
easy in that sense, right?
okay.
Why
Um.
are we putting borders around us?
Okay. Well, look, again, I'm going to ask you a straight question on this topic, right? So,
Mm,
if I am the average working Malawi, if I'm working in Malawi, never traveled, right?
mm,
I don't
mm,
trade.
mm, mm,
Um, all I do is I go to work, I get on TikTok, I go on
mm.
Snapchat, I go on
Yeah.
Twitter. Oh, the world sucks. Oh, the government sucks.
Yeah.
Why should I be interested in something like that? How is this going to benefit me? Because you asked about the benefits, but then let me
Yeah.
spin that round for you. How is it going
Yeah.
to benefit me, the average Joe, that's probably watching this
Yeah.
channel right now, and thinking, how is this going to benefit me? How is it going to benefit the guys that are watching it?
How is it going to benefit you? Okay, we'll start extending the examples because we have to put it in a clear context to say,
All right, all right, all right.
loads of countries are trading in this way, but we Africans have hindered ourselves in so many ways of trading, and it's just as close as neighboring country, you want to get something, but you still have to go to the bank, you still have to exchange this money, you still have to do this. But then you're someone else that doesn't travel. But then we're saying, oh, how can we fix this? We want one Africa, one single note, right? So when it comes to one Africa, one single note, is like a country's economic performance. Every country will be performing on the same level to say, oh, we're going to pull your money and we're going to pull our money and put it together and gain a value that's higher than expected. So to say the money that you have today, the money value that you have today in your country will be determined with the economic activities in your country. So if everyone is like, living in for example, if I'm in Malawi and the middle class is saturated, but then in South Africa, the upper class is saturated. Our money would be averaged on the level of middle class and higher class because their trading is actually applying a little effort to our money as well. So we're gonna have a game to say you can buy other places with a higher value that you have on your.
Basso,
Yeah.
let me stop you there once again.
Mm,
I am not a financial expert, right? All you're
mhm,
telling me there is financial gobbledygook, like
mm.
jargon, as you call it in finance
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm a normal guy, average
Mm.
Joe. I go to work, I wake up, I get on TikTok. Yeah, I don't even know who built TikTok. I don't even know what the technical thing of. I don't even know how to fix my phone, for example. Yeah, say
Mm.
I'm a guy who just lives average Joe. Why should I
Yeah.
be concerned about this sort of one currency thing? I'm just
Mm.
gonna go. I was hoping you were gonna hit the
The
point
the
because
note.
yeah, because a lot
Yeah.
of people, you see, you got to understand. We've got to understand how somebody who is, say, a politician earning loads of money, right,
Mm.
can
Mm.
can can come to a village and convince people that do not earn even a half as much as that person earns, right? To say,
Yeah.
look, follow me, I'll make your life better. Those guys normally ask, why should I follow you? How are you going to
Why
make my life better? You know what I
you
mean?
look so
So
clean, I look so, yeah.
exactly, because today we're talking about this currency thing, right? But
Mm.
then for the average Joe, why should they care about it? Like, and this is the best time to talk about it. As you
Mm.
mentioned, this idea was meant to come into play last year. The
Yeah.
word they were meant to form like an African central bank
Yeah.
this year, right?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
I'm gonna outline some of the benefits, right,
Mm-hmm.
for people like you and me. Um, how it would
Average
benefit
Joes, yeah.
the average Joes, right? So let's think about it today, guys. Yeah, if you want to buy, I don't know, say you're from Malawi and you want to buy Air Jordans, yeah. If you want to buy Air Jordans, you want to look good so that your friends say you got the new Air Jordans and whatnot.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you check if your bank charges you for how much it is you're buying those Jordans from wherever they're coming from because they're not in Malawi, right?
Mm-hmm.
You check how long it's gonna take for you to get those Jordans, right?
Mm-hmm.
You check the tax you might incur when the Jordans move from
Back and forth,
country to
yeah.
country. Okay, these things affect you as a person, right? Immediately, right?
Mm.
So think of it this way, like for the guys that are watching, the guys that don't understand, like why should we be concerned, right? If Africa said, today let's become one. Let's have one currency. Let's trade together. This
Mm.
will minimize this problem. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It will minimize this problem. Now, I will go maybe to the biggest extreme. Say
Mm.
for example, this currency thing happens.
Mm.
Africa
Mm.
is now sourcing to these companies like Jordan, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
labor, all these things, and we're making the Jordans here. The Jordan shoe that you could have bought for say $200, $300, you probably buy it for 100, a
Well
hundred
explained.
dollars,
Well
simply
explained.
because of this African Union thing. You know what I mean? The house that you're living in now, you're paying bills of say 300, 400 because you're importing electricity, you're importing food, you're importing
Yeah.
all this. That cost is being added to you. Now, the money you earn every day, your government is taking the tax from you, higher tax, because the government is, for example, I'm from Malawi, a poor country, right?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I'm from that place where the tax is too high, or the government says we're gonna up the tax. The fuel prices have just gone up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to affect me and my household because I have to plan on how I'm going to look after my household, right?
Yeah.
So if we have this African Union, yeah, again, this is a if, and this is, in my opinion, we have this African
Yeah,
Union. This will decrease such costs. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Because it will have a, so every time the value of the value of money in a country goes down or goes
Mm,
up,
hmm.
it is determined by your main bank, the central bank, the bank that controls your
The
money,
money.
your
Yeah.
economy, basically. So that bank defines what the value of the money is. If the bank is politically influenced,
Hmm.
this causes problems in the value of your money. Yeah. So, for example, in the country that we come from, if I don't know, if the big players from, the colonizers or IMF or World Bank,
Decide.
whoever, if they decide to value your money, we do it, you know,
Mm,
simply because we're not producing enough. So I just wanted
mm.
to give the guys that are watching who are not sure what we're talking about here that
Yeah, that
this
was really good.
this is here to benefit everyone. Like, maybe when you leave today, I want you to take something from what we talk about. Like, okay, I have an invested interest in this, or no, this will not help me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, MP.
No, no,
Carry
no,
on.
no. That was really good because you know what? I come from a kind of finance background, and every time I talk, I think I kind of actually just spill all the financial jargons, and then I forget to say, you know what? Think back and then try to digest this in a kind of easy way and make sure
Uh,
everyone else gets it right. But talking about what just Montali just said there, how do you think a single currency would actually benefit your country or your people? And Montali hinted that say, you know what, you get your Air Jordans, you get your what's that? Designer
you
clothes
want
and stuff like that.
you want your Mercedes or your
Yeah,
Volkswagen.
yeah, because reality is some African countries do produce cars, right? And they manufacture them and stuff, right? So the manufacture process is instead of them charging on top of whatever it is on the exchange and the other stuff, you will get it at the same price the people in that country are getting that price for, that car. And you enjoy that fruit to say, you know what, I still have thousands and thousands saved up in my account and stuff. Um, how do I think single currency would benefit my country being Malawi? I think it would benefit in the part of IT infrastructure. I think that would really be good for our end because looking at it, the exposure of like IT infrastructure would be broad to say if one country has an operation of some say IT services and stuff like that, the little money that we make, we could borrow from whatever countries that are able to have all those, huge infrastructures that would actually lead to our development, and then it would be an equal play moving forward because then the internet speed, we love that, but then the internet cost, we don't like that. So if the cost would be reduced to a certain degree, I think there would be more people reaching out and more people accessing certain resources that they want because they don't have to think about the bundle because we buy in, Airtel, TNM. These are mobile services over in Malawi. We buy all these bundles and stuff like that. They cost a fortune, and you have to juggle between your monthly expenses, your luxury stuff, and your needs and all that stuff. And then you realize that I don't really have to spend so much and buy the internet service. I can live. I'm alive. I can manage myself and all that stuff. I think that's a benefit. One of the benefits that would be there. Uh,
Hmm. I mean, look. Um. So again, we'll get a little bit technical, I guess, just a little
yeah,
bit,
yeah, yeah.
just a little bit. So for example, one of the benefits for a single currency is a structured way of managing economies, right?
Mm,
So it promotes a disciplined way of stabilizing an entire economy.
mm, mm, mm.
So right, like I said before, your main bank controls pretty much your economy, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones who assess how much your country is making based on what you're producing
Mm,
or whatever it is, and who you owe or how much you owe and all that stuff, and that decides what the value of your economy is, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to combine all of these. So this is the
Countries.
idea: combine all of these countries' main banks into one bank, and everyone reports to that bank, right?
Mm, mm,
That bank determines the value of your country, which will balance off because
mm.
Africa has raw materials. Africa has what it needs to
To
become
remain
a
sustainable and
yeah to become a sustainable I guess continent.
yeah.
So that's one of the benefits. Looking at it from the top.
Mm,
So
mm,
what will happen is you will see value in that as a
mm.
person, because let's look at the Zimbabwean dollar, the Zim dollar, for
Yeah,
example, right?
Zimjola, yeah, yeah.
Not long ago. I mean, long ago, of course. They a piece. What is it? A loaf of bread costs like millions or something like that in Zim
Yeah.
dollars, and
Yeah.
and millions of Zim dollars is pennies. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but Zim
Not
there's
even pennies, it's like a fraction, like nearly
very yeah.
invisible.
So the Zim dollar, though, it used to have value, but this value went down so quickly over a period of time, simply because of the mismanagement of and the financial structure or the non-existence of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So think about this: a lot of people coming together to come up with a proper economic structure for Africa, not
Mm,
just
mm,
one country, Africa, right?
mm, 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 mm.
That's one of the benefits.
Yeah.
Another benefit, yeah, is
Mm,
access to an internal African market. So, what do I mean by this? So, access to a market we might not know exists,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
in this day and age, again, I'll keep going back to Malawi. Malawi is part of something we call SADC, Southern
Mm,
African. What is it called? Let me check that again. So Southern African Development Community, right?
yes.
So this group, in this group, you have countries like South Africa, Botswana, Angola, Mozambique, all the countries in the southeastern side of Africa.
Mm,
What
mm.
this does is it opened trade for a country like Malawi. So we
Yeah.
have access to brands that are available in South Africa at a smaller price than it would be for people buying the same brands in Nigeria or outside of Africa. And
Well,
what
you know what? It's interesting is that it's not a one currency that moment, but it still has,
it
a
still
good
has
benefit.
still has many currencies. Yes, it still has many currencies. But see, in this case, the challenge is the exchange rate is still there. It still applies,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you still have certain things. So for us, we look at exchange rates and stuff like that. But in the background, there are other different things, financial procedures and policies, and even fees, that you
Yeah.
have to pay for these things to happen. But
Mm,
these
mm,
organizations mitigated that by having trade deals. Um, I don't know if this policy still exists, but in Malawi, for example, right,
mm.
when a company from outside of Malawi sets shop,
Yeah.
they're given a 5-year tax-free period, basically. So everything they make is
Yeah.
not taxed. And I remember this from high school. I don't know if this has changed, but
Yeah.
so the brands from South Africa operating in Malawi tax-free because of this agreement, the SADC agreement, allowing this trade. Um, you
Imagine
can,
that.
as part of SADC as well,
Yeah.
a normal Malayan can travel to South Africa without needing a visa or whatever it is. You literally get to the airport and just state your purpose for staying in the country, and that's it.
Yeah.
Done. You don't incur any fees, nothing. You can travel freely. So if you have family, you can see
Mm.
people. So these organizations, these communities, what the idea is, they're trying to form into one, trying to use that same theory or the same practice, just only with the same currency, and form them into one. Because Africa
Mm.
has so many different types. ECCA for other countries. You've got a what is it called? UMA, which is the northern side of Africa. So
Yeah.
they're trying to look at these already formed, I guess, trade deals and financial deals to form one big market. So
Yeah.
if these things already exist, it opens a door to this trade, to this trade that's already there. So that we didn't know was there. Because
True.
today, if I want to buy something in Egypt, I'm
Mm.
sure I'm going to incur a lot of fees. But then if we're in the same group, as Egypt and
Yeah.
trading in the same way,
Thing. Yeah.
dude, I could be dressed as a pharaoh tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So with no fee
True
and that.
story. Yeah, man.
I,
Yeah, man.
or I could start up a business in Egypt. You know what I mean?
That
Provide
is true.
labor or the
Outsource some
or
service, like,
outsource architects from Egypt or something like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So yeah, that's I'll stick to the two benefits for now.
But then with that conversation, everything sounds so sweet. But then we have to narrow it down to what are the potential issues that Africans, would face
Well,
if we were, to introduce this.
I thought you were gonna actually before the issues. I thought you were gonna talk about some other. Well, to be fair,
Some of the benefits, like
yeah.
I would say, you touched on it, like the travel part. You had actually touched on. I think there is another part of, let's say, for example, work. I would be working in a certain, state because I'm so confident that my pay in one country would be the same in the next country because the policies would be switched around. Everything that would work for one country needs to work for the next country, and just trying to manage the levels because whatever activity is happening in one place has to affect the other. So we're trying to pull each other together to be in one realm to say, one currency, one Africa, and then one involvement. So if you fall, we carry you. So that's that kind of conversation. As well as, it is so hard because some people want to retire in a certain country. Some people want to, have their savings in another country, depending on the activity in that area, right? It would give a chance for people to say, like the way you're saying in Egypt, to say you would invest your money over in Egypt because they maybe like the city life is so involving and you want to just say, what, I'll buy apartments there, I'll have a shop running there. You'd save your money over in another country while you're operating over in one country. Because, like, example, over in Ireland here, people work here and they have their homes over in Spain. They retire, they go to Spain. So that's that kind of involvement. They know there's one currency. They know they can take advantage because of the certain geographical location to say whatever we earn here is more for whatever is being made there and stuff, and I can get my stuff there.
That's a good point, actually. That's a very good point. The ability to just up and even buy a property, in another country or start a business. Think about it now, right? If you're from say from Nigeria and you want to start a business in South Africa, I'm sure there's so many hurdles that you have to go over, so many fees you're going to incur for just doing that. If this
Yep.
comes in place, it sort of makes those things easier, a little bit seamless, because what's involved in that, you're from Nigeria, you're using naira. In South Africa, they're using rand. What you think is enough converted to rand is probably not enough. You know what I mean? Stuff like that,
Yeah.
because you've lost money in the process. Also, the one main thing, right, is most African countries are still dependent on their colonizers, right? They are still,
Amen.
in debt, in debt to the countries, of the West or whatever
Still
it is.
borrowing money.
Yeah, and with that, still making very bad trade deals, and
Yeah.
still keeping the country in, I guess, in deficit.
A debt spiral, like.
Correct. So this would stop that. You would now turn, well, not completely, but it would ease that. So it would now turn your attention. So let me put it in a simpler way. Actually, say I'm in huge debt right now. I'm in huge debt to, I don't know, a friend. I'm in huge debt to a friend, right?
Yeah.
On my own, with the money I'm earning, it's going to take me 10 years to pay off that debt, right? I get married. All right. I get married. I have children. Yeah? I have to look after these children. I am half as invested in looking after these children as my partner. What do you think the first thing we're going to do? We're going to try and balance the financial situation so we can better provide for our children. This is what could happen for countries that are in that situation as well. These are some of the benefits anyway.
Yeah. Might as well just jump into the comments there before we go on to.
All right, cool. Let me just get into the comments real quick. So let's go, Mr. Patrick. Wow, he's asked a lot of questions, Mr. Trucy fan here. Who will be in charge of this currency? Who will govern it? Well, I think we'll get to that, won't we?
Yeah. We're getting there.
We'll get to that. What are your personal thoughts and the feelings on that? Using one currency. I think we've given a few, but don't worry, we'll carry on that. It says, if my country is rich, why should I join others? That's a very, very good question. This is one of the issues. Actually, it's one of the issues because as much as we're saying that there's a lot to gain, right, from countries like Malawi, but there's a lot to lose from countries that are already developed. Are they going to? Is it financially beneficial for them? Say for example, if I'm trading, so let's say Patso's Malawi and I'm South Africa, I'm trading with Patso right now. I'm buying tobacco from Patso at £1 for 10 kgs. And then all of a sudden, me and Paso get in the same trade deal, and Paso now has all these people dealing with him. You know what I mean? And I'm buying this tobacco for £1, right? And Paso can say, you know what? Because everyone's buying from me, £2.
Yeah,
£2.
true
So
story, man.
lose. I stand to lose because I need Pato. So yeah, I think that's one of the examples. But yeah, it's a very good point. But I think there would have to be certain, I guess, agreements or individual agreements between countries. You have to assess it based on the GDP, surely, based on how much a country makes.
That really happens with the EU. That really happens with the EU.
So you have to assess it and sort of cater deals or structures that will still benefit someone, inside the African Union, instead of getting into it and losing money, for example, that tobacco example that I just gave. I hope that answers your question, Patrick. I don't know if you got anything else to add, MP.
No, it's perfectly that's a perfect answer to that. If I would add anything like in the situation of, for example, the EU, right? Some countries are still working on trying to get into the EU because there's a certain criteria. You have to qualify for a certain, to be eligible to, join the EU, you have to have certain parts to it. And it all goes down to like interest rates. It's like, the amount of money that you have to pay to borrow and stuff like that. When you borrow, what you pay back at a certain rate and all that. How you maintain your GDP as well, because then it has to be on a certain level, something below 60%, blah 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 and stuff. You have to make sure that you don't borrow a lot of money from certain people, so that you are trying to remain sustainable. You have to be self-sufficient and sustainable in that certain sense. So not a lot of African countries find themselves in a stronger position in this sense. It's like we have to pull strings from one end to make sure that the other, survives. We've seen this over like in Greece. Now the likes of like Italy, Portugal, Spain are falling into this pit as well, because they were trying to save Greece, but then the same problems is, if a country runs out of money, what do? And Greece 2015, they say, you know what, we give up. It's either you borrow us money or bail us out. So I don't know how many African countries have that little pool for what they're actually producing, what they're actually like manufacturing and all that stuff. We don't even know, because now we're looking at is Africa the poorest country, Africa the poorest continent in this situation. So we're looking at this country is the poorest in Africa, this and that, right? So when you're looking at those steps, are we going to start to try to patch up all these poorest countries in Africa and then do the one single currency? Or are these countries that are doing great on their own, just like the EU are doing, to say if you meet a certain criteria and you're eligible for this, we will do business with you, but we will not do business with you if you're not functioning.
I think that's a good point too, because Vanessa raised that issue, the same thing as you said with the Greece thing. Said it's a great idea, but when a country isn't doing so well, you bail them out. It's happening now in the EU. I think there should be some sort of tier system or something like that. Whereas a country that's not producing anything, shouldn't stand to gain everything. It should be measured on that. What are you bringing to the table? Whatever you're bringing to the table, it defines your share in the table, if that makes sense. Yes, they'll have the benefit of having one currency, right? And
Yeah.
having obviously a stable economy. But again, you're still going to bring something to the table, so if you're bringing something to the table and somebody else has, say, given up their currency because their currency is stronger, or
Mm.
they believe their currency is stronger, there should be a benefit for them, and a less risk of a loss than it
Yeah.
is a benefit for somebody for a country that just doesn't have anything, or like what happened to Greece. So, for example, with the EU, I think they check. There are certain criteria you've got to meet. I'm not going
Yeah.
into
Mm.
technicals with this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
look, it's measured upon how much you can borrow,
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
and
mm,
how
mm.
much you make,
Yeah.
basically. So if you exceed the amount that is assessed on this council assesses it, like, look, if you
Yeah.
exceed the amount we think you can borrow, then you do
Yeah.
not qualify to join. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing that could be applied to Africa, because I think this shouldn't just be, it shouldn't act as a savior to everyone. It should,
Mm.
there's a long way. This is the suggestion here. There's a question here, but I feel
Yeah.
it's still a long way, because we can't just say, oh yeah, tomorrow let's have one currency. That's not going to happen.
Mm.
It's
You
not going to
know,
happen.
you know what really taps into my mind all the time, right? I I spin the globe, or I like take my Google Maps and I look at everything. Now I see there's US, there's the
Mm,
United States
mm.
of America, and then there's Australia, right? All these parts, right? When you look at these continents and stuff, right? And you're like, wait a minute. These pieces of land are like so close to equivalent. Not really. Africa is bigger than these places, but then when you look at them, you say, how did they manage to cover the whole of US? How did they manage to cover the whole of Australia to say, hey, we're going to use one currency? Like, how did they get into that agreement? It's just, looking at this and say, what issues do we have if we actually go forward with, the single currency? And you're talking about, hey, some countries are not performing better than the others and stuff.
Yeah,
How
yeah, yeah.
how are we planning to solve these problems? Because,
Okay, so
mm,
look, before, with any union, again, I'm
mm,
gonna go back to that marriage thing, because trust me, these days, if you're getting into a relationship, yeah, financials get discussed. How much are you bringing? How much are you making?
yeah,
Where are you at in your life, and what's your ambition? So it's the same thing with these the poorer countries who
yeah,
don't. What do you have in place to make more, or to become better? What are you going to do about it?
mm,
If it's a matter of a bit of education, or exchanging expertise, because some countries like Botswana and South Africa have better financial structure than other countries, right? So if these countries that are members of this union, are lacking in those standards, you could use those resources. You're now part of a union, or you're
mm,
going to be part of it. You can use those resources to build the structure of your financial state or
mm,
financial country, and all these things.
mm,
That's what I think could help solve this problem. It's not like there are no countries in Africa that are not financially well off, or the structure is a bit sketchy or dodgy. There are actually countries that are prospering with a good financial structure. So what I feel like is,
yeah,
if they set a standard to say this is the standard we need to be at,
mm,
and everybody else gets to that standard, I think that's a start.
yeah,
Um, that's a start, because one see again, for a poor country, I think this was the problem I mentioned. Like, there's too much influence, too much power
mm,
from the leaders of the country, the
yeah,
government, to devalue their currency, or to opt to making such decisions without proper financial analysis. This would give this improvement of standards, yeah,
yeah,
would give power to the central banks of countries to say, hey man, this is the wrong move, we can't do this according to
yeah,
this constitution, it's not
yeah,
going to work. So those are things that need to get be put in place, basically.
yeah. Oof,
Yeah.
man. Talking about power, man. I'll just go back. Hey, I don't want to get into this deep, but the level of corruption over in like certain African states is deep, right? And when I look at this to say, introducing the one currency, the single currency in certain states of Africa, and just putting it out there, it will have a it will have a third eye of monitoring what's happening, and it will put a close to this to say, hey, you say your government's functioning all right. Your opposition says this, but then what we're looking at is the central bank just saw a check go through for like something about millions or billions and stuff like that. What the hell is going on? These guys are saying you're squandering all this money and stuff like that. There is like, how would this solve the issues? I think it will help solving the issues of corruption, but then solving the issues of trying to get certain countries on a certain level. It's We have to try to travel. We have to try to When we travel, we're exposed to new things, right? And if the people of a certain country come to our country, they can exploit certain things, and they can make sure that some things are moving the same way they were moving when they were over in their certain country. So having all these potential issues to say the change of currency cannot happen. I think it can happen, but it would take time. It has to be the governments first sort out your issues, and then the two governments will agree, and then three, four, five, six, seven. But there's a hard knocking door that has to be eliminated, and that stands with the people, because the people have to agree on what is really important in the situations, and the issues are broad, and if there's a certain criteria that we have to meet, not all African countries will meet those criteria, because then there's a disadvantage. Geopolitics, advantages are really at large in Africa, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah, they are, to be honest.
Yeah,
I saw a comment here from
yeah.
Vanessa. Says, look, I think the only problem with
Mm,
Gaddafi's proposal was he
mm.
wanted to rule the whole of Africa. Base,
Jeez.
see, Vanessa, where did you get that information from? That's the first question. Is this your opinion, or do you know, or did he tell you himself, or what? Like, I was
um,
saying, like,
I
what's going on
if
there, Vanessa? All right, listen.
if I'm not mistaken, there was a hint of discussion, and I think the point was when the what do they call it? The African Union was formed and all that stuff, right? They elected over Gaddafi to be, the chairperson and stuff, right? He kind of start nitpicking and noticed that, this role does not really give me that full power. And he came forward. He said, I didn't know, this role had only these few responsibilities, and it didn't really carry that value of status. I didn't know that I was going to be, just a person on the background. I wanted to be the person that's looked upon to say the face of Africa. So he thought the chairperson of AU would have been the person, the face of Africa, but it wasn't in that sense. So he wanted a seat over in the UN when they're having all those forums and all that stuff. He wanted to be there. He wanted to be that first person to talk to. So yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
Vanessa here says, it's out there, sir. He said it in front of everyone. So, so, hey, man, listen.
Yeah.
Uh, what I know
Mm,
is he suggested One Africa.
mm,
He suggested a currency, right?
mm, mm.
He also, um,
On passport as
he,
well.
yeah, one passport. He offered the idea of you know Libya being the central area for governance, right?
Mm, mm, mm.
Now, the problem, the opposition he got to that was the African Union was formed on democratic policies, right?
Mm, mm,
So
mm, mm.
this was the core thing about the African Union. In fact, the African Union was formed 5 years after the European Union, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It was formed during the time that most African countries were gaining independence from colonialism.
yeah, yeah.
The reason that all Africans banded together was to protect themselves, basically. Yeah.
Colonizers.
Yep, they have policies in place that allow this, a democratic parliament and whatnot. That is something Libya is not. All right. So
Yeah.
whether he said it or not, it wasn't going to happen. you know,
The human rights part,
it wasn't going to happen.
you
But
won't be lucky.
I did not hear that, quote unquote. I did not see it. I didn't hear it. But I know the idea was to unify Africa. That was
Mm,
the idea. It's
mm.
just that maybe, obviously, he would have wanted power, but to say that he was gonna, I guess turn Africa into a Libya, I don't know. That's a bit. There's room for argument there. There were too many people involved to
Yeah,
allow that to happen. That's what I think, anyway. But
yeah.
anyone's
Oof.
open to discuss that. Do you know what I mean?
That yeah, that is unreal. That is unreal, guys. If you're just joining us, just go back and watch the video on what we were discussing, and based on what we were discussing, like should we actually implement the you know uh single currency in Africa? Should we take it slow, country to country? Should we put it on, like, say, 5 countries first, or 10 countries go second, and all that stuff? Should we actually push it to say we're going to do this, or should maybe certain sections of Africa be put into, say, certain countries will be trading on that union? And Wantali,
Yes,
based
sir.
on based on what we discussed, do you think we need to implement this, or should we take it slow?
Well, wait a minute. Are you telling me if I say yes, we should, or no, we should not? Because
Pitch in whatever you have in mind. Pitch in, because what you have in your knowledge is this is what the media gave me, but
okay,
then you don't know the aftermath of it.
okay. So look,
Mm,
the idea of it sounds great. Yeah.
mm,
So
mm,
based on the idea, yes,
mm,
but based on what is there right now, what we see,
mm,
in most African countries, this
mm,
is a very difficult task. It took Europe years to get to where they are now. The EU, sorry,
mm,
years to
mm,
get to
mm,
where they
mm,
are now. For them to
mm.
have a unified currency, man, it
Yeah,
took time. So this will be very difficult to do. Also, there will be
yeah,
many countries looking for bailouts. There'll be too many countries who could hold this unified currency thing back. We could
yeah.
end up with an African Zim dollar. Honestly, this is how scary it could get. So look, I'm all about risks, but
Mm,
if this is gonna happen, right,
yeah,
it needs to be done right. And whoever's heading it,
mm,
it needs to be an organization or a country, whatever, that is independent of the corrupt governance that floods Africa, right?
yeah.
So what I'm trying to say here is, if people are going to sing, you better make sure everybody's singing the right song. You know what I'm saying? Because if somebody
Oh,
else is
wow,
saying,
yeah.
yeah, if somebody else is saying, hey, well, look, we're joining the AU because I
Mhm,
want to have a mansion, or whatever it is, or just to hold people back, or for
mm.
selfish reasons, which we have seen happen. History has told us that.
Yeah,
Then,
yeah,
then this is going to be difficult. But I am still on hope. I am team hope. I am,
yeah.
yes, it should happen. That's the long answer. It should happen. Come on.
Man, oh man, oh man. Guys, you heard it. Wantali is Team Hope, and we're hoping that's actually going to happen. For myself, I feel it needs to happen for certain states, but there needs to be, some countries have to gradually, build themselves to that caliber to be in that circle, and then maybe we could fix up a better, continent of Africa, depending on the resources that we have. We could pull strings on one end to just fix the other, because then, as all markets, like when you go to business, you try to fix. If one item is rotting, you say perishable goods, non-perishable goods. You try to fix that to say we have to fix a good business. I feel we have a chance. We have a chance to unite Africa in certain levels, and make sure that certain things are operated in the right way. But the human rights has to be considered. the corruption facts have to be considered, eradicate all that, like, just eliminate all those functions and make sure that we have transparency functions. One country shouldn't take advantage of the other. We have to, move side by side and make sure that everything works perfectly. But it takes a lot of collaboration and teamwork just to make sure everything is right. But to say on that note, like, I would love to go to certain countries, just be able to afford to travel to certain countries. But that's a discussion for another day, to say, what if Africa would open, every African countries would open borders to the next, right? So so to end this, like, guys would like to know, why do you think we should use a single currency in Africa? And with all this discussion, would also like to bring you back to our conversation, to say, hey, it's been a year we've been operating this.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa.
Come on.
Guys in the comments, man, honestly, let us know. Do you think Africa should have a single currency? Do you think this is gonna work? Would it work? How would it work? Is it gonna, with the problems that Africa has, is this possible? Who's gonna head it? Who's fit enough to do it? If, say, for example, at the time, if Gaddafi was allowed to do it, would it have been successful? I'm intrigued to know, is this something that would finally, allow Africans to produce materials on their own? Please let us know in the comments, man. Or the financial advisors, please.
Yeah.
Let us know.
States? Yeah. How many head of states do you want to vote into to run this African Union commission or whatsoever and stuff like that? What would you like to see? What fair play do you like to applaud and say, no, this is foul, this is that? And what sanctions do you want to put moving forward for certain behaviors moving forward? Like, put in the comments, guys. Would appreciate that. And Wantali, talking about birthdays. Guys,
guys. Yeah. Hey, guys, you know what I'm saying? Next week, 26th of March 2022 marks the first year of 5Roundz. You heard it. Oh.
I'm gonna blow up the speakers there.
Yes, honestly, it's look, man. So next week, 26th of March, 2022 was marks a year since we dropped the first video, right? The first video on YouTube, guys. We are planning big things. We have big things coming. We have an event as well on the day, right? So what's gonna happen is, first of all, we are gonna obviously have a show on YouTube, right, at 8 p.m. Right, 8 p.m. We're gonna have a show on YouTube. We're gonna have a show at 8:30 on Facebook. So make sure you are following us, you're subscribed, and you've got your notification buttons on. So Facebook, just search 5Roundz with a Z at the end. YouTube, 5Roundz again, just search 5Roundz with a Z. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification button. We're going to be live on IG, Instagram, 9 p.m. It's at 5Roundz podcast. It's coming now. You see that thing underneath right now? The one that's just moving? Yeah, that's the one underneath the devil emoji, that one. Yeah. So 5Roundz, follow that, guys, all right? We're going to be live there. We're gonna have a few games. All right. We're gonna have a quiz as well, and there's a chance for you guys to win merch. We are giving away 4 pieces of merch, ladies and gentlemen. One of them is the one that my guy there is wearing. Do you know what I mean, guys? We're gonna drop
unreal
merch and more merch. So if you want to win this merch, guys, it's simple. All you need to do, is like, follow, subscribe, and post. So we're gonna be dropping a promo video. At some point next week, we'll drop a promo video. What you need to do is like that video. Follow us on Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed on this channel. And post the video that we post, guys. Post it on your platform. The lucky winner is winning a hoodie. Guys. All right. We're gonna pick out of whoever, you're winning a hoodie, a free hoodie, guys. This hoodie's worth like what, 30 euros? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Free.
Know what I'm saying? So
Not to
guys,
worry.
you heard it, guys. All right. So the ad's gonna come out next week, Saturday, from 8 p.m., starting from YouTube. And then we're going to end up on IG where it goes crazy, on Instagram Live. All right. So it's going to be mad. We'll have the whole crew on and everything, guys. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this topic. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button, guys. All right. So you
we'll
don't
be back on Friday. And see you on Saturday as well, because it's a birthday. It's your birthday. Yay. Come on.
Yeah, guys, man. Thank you for watching, guys. All right. You were amazing as per. We'll speak to you guys later. Peace.
5 rounds. Cheers.